Well, hello again, and this is SupplySide in Conversation, and it's the second one of these conversations we've had, and I'm very pleased to say that we've got Stuart Charity from the Australian Automotive Aftermarket Association, the AAAA, as a lot of people would know it. G'day, Stuart. How are you?
Hi, Rob. How's things?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, the reason I thought of having a chat with you, Stuart, was in the AAA magazine last month. There was an article about connected cars. Now, I'll preface that to say that the legislation's presently in the motor vehicle service and repair information sharing amendments. Mm-hmm. We probably won't go into that too much today, except there's a component of that. But the article was very interesting, and I just thought I'd get you to give us a little bit more information about what you're thinking there, because it's a big topic, connected cars, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it is, and to be honest, it's absolutely fantastic to see the legislation that we've all been working as an industry on for over a decade to go into Parliament, and we expect it to go through with bipartisan support. So, but the connected cars are the kind of the next frontier of this issue. So. Essentially, that will be legacy legislation in terms of it will ensure that any vehicle from 2002 onwards, any repair and service information, whether that's repair manuals or whether it's information transmitted electronically through the OBD port, so things like software downloads and coding parts into vehicles and technical service bulletins and so on. That'll all be covered under that legislation, which is fantastic, and it's groundbreaking for the Australian market, because we will be the first market anywhere in the world to have a national law like this protecting competition and choice for Australian car owners. So essentially, if you own a vehicle from 2002 onwards up to sort of 2020, 2021 now, you're going to have full choice of repairer, whoever you go to, whether it's from a collision or mechanical repair perspective. That repairer is going to have all the information they need to repair your vehicle properly. So that provides good service. Unfortunately, and look, it wasn't a real surprise. We did lobby, but we weren't successful in getting connected cars included in that current legislation. As I say, we weren't surprised. There's no other jurisdiction anywhere in the world that has got this covered, and there's a bit of infrastructure and other considerations like cyber security and hacking and so on that come into it. But it's an issue that's going to need to be addressed moving forward by governments in the same way that traditional data sharing has been addressed.
Do you think they'd be looking at it in terms of the data rights legislation that's coming up, I believe? I know they've been talking about that for a little while.
Yeah, so we've spoken to the AAAC and Treasury that are championing that legislation. So that's the data rights. They're doing it on a sector by sector basis, is what we've been told, and they're starting off with banking because that's probably the biggest bang for your buck. So essentially, what that data legislation does is enshrine your rights to ownership over information that's personal to you. So the company doesn't own the information, you own it, and it gives you full portability. So for instance, if you want to change your bank, which is a very complex thing to do at the moment, to try and cancel all your credit cards and loans and that sort of thing, this will enable you to basically authorise the bank that you're leaving to transfer all your data and customer records and everything from your previous bank, and it gives you that opportunity of full portability of information, and therefore makes that process of moving banks much easier, and hopefully will help with competition and choice again. We have been told that automotive will be included in that, but it's not one of the priority sectors, so it may take a number of years to wash through. And quite frankly, we think we probably, in the same way that we've got this mandatory data sharing law, we think we need some automotive specific legislation, because the automobile is such a specific product that there are no products like it from a consumer perspective.
What's the advantage with connected car data in the first place? Why is it so important, and why is everybody so interested in the data coming out of a car?
Yeah, look, well, the first thing to say is that our survey showed that most people don't know that their car is transmitting data, and virtually every vehicle in the showrooms and that have been in showrooms for the last few years are fully connected. So they're transmitting data, but the car owner isn't aware of what they're transmitting, who it's to, and what it's being used for. Look, why it's important, and look, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of advantages in having connected cars. It enables, essentially, it's the car is transmitting data wirelessly, similar to your phone, and it connects into your phone. It can also connect into road infrastructure and other things. So it's this kind of first stage to fully automated vehicles, which will take a lot of time to happen, but it gives a lot of benefits in the short term. Things like the e-call. So if you're involved in a serious accident where airbags are deployed and so on, the vehicle will automatically contact the emergency services. They can try and make contact with the driver through the car itself. So the voice would come on the line. If they can't communicate with the driver, then they'll dispatch the emergency service vehicles and so on. And it's time critical to get medical support and so on to an accident, both to improve the survivability and outcomes for the occupants, but also other cars can smash into vehicles if the people are unconscious or whatever. So there's a real safety benefit. There's things like real-time traffic management, so you avoid congestion and so on, which is good for getting where you want to go, but it's good for the environment and so on. There's there's a lot of benefits to connected cars, but quite frankly, the connected car is also able to tell the car manufacturer, a dealer, but at the moment not an independent repairer, if there's a fault code that goes off on the vehicle, so the vehicle's identified that it's got a problem, then it can automatically tell the repairer that there's a problem and book itself in. And that's the issue that we have, is that it actually provides the mechanism for the car manufacturer to talk directly to the car owner through the vehicle itself, and it has the ability to basically take independent repairer, and for that matter the dealer, out of the equation, and that's all good and well if the car owner wants that, if they want the manufacturer to be able to do that, but we think that car owners should be aware of exactly what's being transmitted and what it's being used for, and they should have a choice.
Because that's the point, isn't it? Even though they may have a direct relationship, and the data sharing legislation allows any repairer to do the work on the car, if the OE is the only one that knows that it's got a problem, or the owner of the data in the first place is the only one that knows it's got a problem, then that gives them the ability to get first dibs.
It does, and that's the surveying that we showed was that there was quite strong support for that function of a connected car. Most people are open to their repairer of choice having that direct access, so they can monitor the vehicle, and if anything happens, they can be notified and notify their repairer directly. But they want the choice on where that vehicle data goes. They weren't so open to insurers and law enforcement agencies and others having real-time access to where the vehicle is and how it's being driven and at what speeds and so on.
I can't imagine why. So I imagine I mean, one of the advantages of it is that it gives you the chance to actually ensure that you've got rules around who can access it, when they can access it, the commercial terms upon which it's based, etc. Now, that's all happening in the data sharing and the repair data sharing. So it does make sense that it actually applies into the connected data as well, doesn't it?
Well, it does. It does. And look, we do believe that when, and it is not if, it's when now, this mandatory data sharing law comes into place. We believe that will signal a very strong or very clear precedent from government that they're going to take the side of the consumer every time here. They're not going to let multinational car companies monopolise the repair and service and parts market vehicles. So this is an extension of that. At the moment, the reason it wasn't included is because, quite frankly, most of the vehicle manufacturers don't have their connected vehicle products turned on at the moment. So you see in the US and other markets, there's One Star and other products where you pay a premium for a connected vehicle and you get a whole lot of services that are added onto it. You can book, your car can book restaurants. You know which petrol stations have got the cheapest petrol in your area. As I said, there's a lot of benefits to it. But at the moment in Australia, none of the vehicle manufacturers have those products turned on. The vehicles are connected and they are transmitting data, but they don't have the monetized products.
Yeah.
They're also not transmitting repair data wirelessly at the moment. But once they do, we believe we'll have a pretty good shot of getting a set of legislation. If it is through the data rights law or it is an extension to the mandatory data sharing law, we believe the governments will move that way when they need to. But as I said, also it's quite new technology, and there are still concerns around cybersecurity and that sort of thing. So I don't think we're ready as an industry from an infrastructure perspective also. So that's why we weren't too surprised or concerned that it wasn't included in this round. We think it will be in subsequent rounds at the appropriate time.
Well, you've certainly been pretty successful getting the first round up, although I think it took you about 10 years, but, and multiple ministers and even changes of government. So, but this one, I think, is one that's going to have to get done at some point soon, isn't it?
Yeah, look, it is. And look, it was a very difficult road. You were involved along the way as well. So I think you saw the degree of difficulty to get a law changed in the country. As I said, this is groundbreaking legislation anywhere in the world, and quite frankly, governments, and particularly Australian governments, don't change the law at the drop of a hat. That you need to go through a process. So there was a voluntary scheme. There's been numerous reviews. We've had to convince both sides of Parliament that this is in the consumer's interests. We've had hundreds of MPs out to workshops to talk to the owners of the shops about how this impacts their business and their customers. So there's been a long road, but as I say, we're now the finish line is in sight in terms of the legislation. But that precedent that the government has now the line in the sand, the government said we're not going to accept multinationals ripping off Australian consumers and lining their own pockets. So I mean, this isn't about supporting one industry over another. It's about supporting Australian car owners and keeping the cost of car ownership down. And this is just the next extension of that in terms of technology, but we think the principle is sound, and at the appropriate time, we will get the legislation.
But, well, we've gone a little bit long today. No surprise, it's an interesting topic. And before we finish up, thanks, Stuart. Where can people find out more about this if they need to? Obviously, the AAA magazine most recently, but and your website, I guess?
Yeah, so just 4 A's in lowercase, so AAA.com.au. If you go to our news section, we've got that story. And if you contact us, we can send you a copy of the consumer survey as well.
Right. Now, given we have gone a bit long, but you'll have noticed, everybody, that when I've posted this, I've said that there's a special prize near the end. So it is Masters Week, and some of us are keen on the Masters. And I've got a special prize for anybody who has made it this far. It is whoops, there it is. It's a Masters yardage guide, and believe it or not, Masters sunscreen. So these are things that are very hard to get. Something along those lines will be winging its way to you at some point, Stuart. So if you can answer this question, the first person to come back to me with an answer to this question will get the Masters Yardage book and Masters sunscreen. So the question is very simple. Name the winner and the winner's score for the US Men's Masters this week from Georgia. And hopefully somebody comes back to us quite quickly and has made it this far in the video, Stuart.
Excellent. We hope so.
We
Good
hope
luck
so.
to everyone.
All right. Good luck to everybody on that. It's a complex question. Well done for making this far. Well, Stuart, thanks so much for having a chat to us. We'll all be up on our YouTube, and look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate the time.